Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Four Dead Losers podcast. We are the Four Dead Losers. I'm Ramiro.
Adam.
Justin.
And Amanda.
And today we are going to be talking about the Terrifier, who's spooky, nice and ready, trying to get us ready for Terrifier 3, which comes out October 11th, I believe. So, short synopsis of the movie. Essentially, you have two girls. Their names are Dawn and Tara. And they meet our antagonist, Art the Clown. They try to get away from him. They kind of get trapped into a building. And then Tara's sister, Victoria, comes to save the day. And, well...
yeah.
things kind of go a little haywire. Non-spoiler thoughts. Adam, what did you think of the movie?
Again, this is a movie that I found and stumbled upon whenever I was in my apartment before I was, moved in with my wife. So I thought the movie was really good. It honestly, when I first watched it, it like took me aback. I was like, they greenlit like all of this. So that was the first time my mind is like, they greenlit every single scene in this movie, and I guarantee that like nobody told this person like no. Like there's like you can do whatever you want, and they did whatever they want. But I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought it was I wouldn't say different, but it just felt fresh. It felt like it was its own thing, and it really got me more interested in like kind of like more B horror movies to give them more chances, because I thought this one was pretty well done, and then obviously the second one was just another step forward. But I would say generally I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. Rating 1 to 10?
I think looking back on it, I would probably give it about 7.5. Again, there's obviously some things that are going to keep it from being like a 10 or anything like that. But yeah, I would say like a 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Justin, what did you think of the movie?
It's so bad. The movie sucks. 7.5. Yeah, it's bad. It's so bad that it's good. It's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Violent Nature was the worst I've ever seen.
No, that was a good movie.
That was a good movie. Yeah, man. She's in agreement.
Terrifier is bad. There's no plot.
Did you not hear my short synopsis?
That's the whole plot.
Like a plot.
That's the whole plot. That's
still a plot.
Sounds simple. Sounds like simple to me.
It's too simple.
Anyways,
yeah. You don't know what's going on. Oh, look. Yeah, it's bad. 7.5.
That's funny. Amanda, non-spoiler thoughts?
So I actually didn't rewatch it, so I'm gonna be a little in this episode.
That's okay.
But from what I remember when I did see it, I thought it was enjoyable. I mean, I thought it was cool. Like you said, it was a lot more gory than I anticipated. But the second one, I really liked the second one. So yeah, I don't really have too much to comment on this one.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a number rating right now, but I know that I didn't hate it. So
That's good.
All right, cool. Just so the audience knows, Amanda is the only one out of the four of us who's actually met both of them.
yeah.
Damien Leone and Edward Howard Thornton, and she got us the beautiful picture that we have hanging in our background.
Yeah.
Non-spoiler thoughts for myself. I like the movie. I remember the first time I watched it, I was in college, and I had it was back when Netflix was still good, right? And I was watching this movie. And I'll point out which kill it that I was watching when my roommate had walked in, and he was like, "Yo, what the is this?" And I was like, "Just leave me alone and let me watch the movie." I'm in my room. Be quiet. But I mean, it does feel kind of dated, which is fine. It did come out. What, 8 years ago?
2016.
Yeah.
And then I think it really got pushed onto Netflix around 2018, 2019.
Something like that, yeah. But a rating from 1 to 10, I'd probably give this movie probably on it, I'm gonna be real, probably like a 5.
It's pretty bad. It's really bad.
Like if you it's kind of it's slower than like some movies, right? Like when stuff happens, it like ramps up and you can tell.
Oh yeah, this is
Yeah, but like when there's dead time, it feels kind of long.
Yeah,
it feels longer.
It did feel long.
With that being said, while I do rate it a 5 out of 10, I do really enjoy this movie and I do really love it. There's just some pacing stuff that I have issues with.
It was. So I remember the first time I watched it, like the very first time when y'all told me to watch it for the second one, I think there was a point halfway in the movie where I was like, I think I either called or I messaged you, and I'm like, am I watching the right movie? I'm like, this is the movie you wanted me to watch, and you were like, yeah. You're like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, this is the movie. I was like, this movie sucks. You're like, oh, it's
He
good.
still gave it a 7.
It's so bad.
It's
Not
an
good.
experience.
Yeah.
So with that being said, this is your spoiler warning. We're gonna get into spoiler territory in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So the movie basically begins, and we see it's like a TV, right? And it has like static, and we were watching this interview happen between some news anchor person and what do they call it? The Miles County
Massacre.
Miles County Massacre survivor. And her name is Victoria.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So this is, I guess, technically a sequel, right? All Hallows. Is that what it's called?
It's just they pulled the character from All Hallows Eve.
So that massacre in the beginning isn't the one that happens, because I've never seen I've never seen that.
No,
the massacre is the movie.
Oh.
Bro.
This man didn't watch the movie.
I did. No, I did. You know what? Okay, like this is me being dumb, right? I didn't realize that the girl in the beginning was the girl at the end. I thought he did that shit twice. That's what I thought the whole time. I thought he did that twice.
You know what? In your defense, in the transition from the opening scene to the movie, there's no 1 year before or anything like that. We get it at the end, but not.
I thought he did that twice. I was like, he did that twice. He bit off some. Oh my god.
The interviewer and the interviewee kind of go, little Q&A for a little bit until we finally get a clear image of what the interviewee's face looks like, and of course it's all mutilated, right?
I did like the use of the static to block it for a bit, similar to when we talked about with the camera being kind of like non-focused with the previous movie we spoke about, and this one same thing with the static, and use that as it was zooming in too, right? Like it was also like a one shot clear zoom in of the TV getting closer and closer, and then you can see it very clearly. So I thought that was done well.
Yeah. And then after we see the survivor's face, it goes into the opening credits, and the opening credits is you just see basically Art like filling up his trash bag, right, with a bunch of stuff. We'll get more into this when we eventually talk about the second movie, but this scene happens again in the second movie.
I was going to say too, I will throw out there that there's a lot of parallels with the second movie to this movie. Like going back, how many times we watched the second movie, first movie, there's so many things that are the same, which is kind of cool. Like, you know what? Like it's very like, at least they're keeping it the same. Yeah.
But then after the whole opening credits, we get into the green room, and it's the interviewer. I think her name's Monica. Doesn't really matter, because she's in the green room. She's on the phone with somebody. They're basically just having a conversation about what are we having for dinner or whatever the heck. But then she starts talking like mad trash about Victoria, right? Like to the guy, and there's like some movement going on behind her, and she's like, "Oh, what the heck is that? Must have been the wind," and goes back to her conversation. The conversation finally finishes, more rustling, as she gets up to check it out, and that's when Victoria,
pushes her fingers in her eyes.
Yeah, she gouges her eyes.
There's a big theme in this movie.
Eye gouging?
That's almost in about, I'd say 80% of the things that happen in this movie involve that.
Eye gouging.
Yeah.
And I think it's how much gore can we put in? That's probably really
gory,
easy to whatever.
Right. I guess it's also to point out, if you have not seen this movie, the director is also a very good practical effects artist, and so that's where this movie really does well with some of its stuff that I really enjoyed, because again, I know sometimes you can go really bad, but then when I saw this movie, I think I started realizing it's not that it's bad for the sake of the effects are bad, but it's just they just maybe weren't done with as somebody that maybe was experienced or had that type of style. The stuff he has is a little bit more, I wouldn't say real, but it has a little bit more you can kind of blur the lines a little bit where it kind of you can see it's somewhat realistic, but it really isn't still.
Yeah. So then our anchor dies, and then we jump to a different scene. And in this other scene, we see our first two characters, which are Dawn and Tara, and they're basically Dawn is I guess inebriated. And she's like, oh, texting some boy, and Tara's like, why are you texting him? He was a doo-doo head at the party and whatever.
So bad, by the way. So bad.
And then eventually they get back to Dawn's car, and then they are arguing over who's going to drive, right? Because one of them is clearly under the influence, and the other one's a little bit more sober, I guess.
Still drunk, I guess.
Yeah, buzzed or something like that. Don't drink and drive. And then they kind of like make eye contact, right? And they see Art the Clown, and he's just
Tara sees him first. So that's the first indicator of like, I think that's where Tara establishes herself as kind of more of the protagonist, because she's the one that has more quote unquote interaction. And then she tells her, right, like, look, what is that? And then she turns around and he's still there, like, in his faces.
Yeah. And they just kind of like get creeped out. It's a little bit of like, whoa, what the heck is he doing here? And kind of that conversation going on until eventually Art is gone. He disappears into the night.
I will throw out there too, Dawn does egg him on though too, like, oh man, you have a great costume, blah blah blah, this and that, and like that's not a good idea.
Plays the annoying blonde kid.
Yeah.
So then they decide like, hey, you know what feels good right now? Pizza. And so they go to a pizza parlor.
They said the name like 5 times.
I didn't catch the name, but that's besides the point. So they're there, and I think Tara's still a little like weirded out, right, about what's going, or about seeing Art.
Are you wearing the same shirt?
Oh. Huh.
Well, one of us is gonna have to change.
I didn't even notice that.
I didn't know.
I've been looking at it for the past 20 minutes and I didn't even notice.
You're the odd man out.
I'm gonna go get my maroon shirt.
So Tara's like still like, hey, I'm kind of freaked out, kind of thing, and then Dawn's just blowing her off, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much like, he's harmless, XYZ. And then we see Art walk in, and Tara's immediately like,
on the edge,
like on the edge of her seat, right? Like just kind of like, what's going on? And Art like sits in the freaking booth, and he's just like hunched over,
like staring. Yeah, he's just like dead scared.
Giving her like the evil eye kind of thing, and eye letting up, and the worker, the manager, or whoever's like, he acknowledges Art, basically just saying like, hey, I'll be with you in a little bit, and he's on the phone, and I think he like kind of makes fun of him a little bit. He's like, oh, you should have
seen the guy that walked in.
The dude that just walked in, he looks like or something like that. Dawn starts to like, oh, hey, you're back, the party can continue kind of thing, right? And she like asks for a picture with Art, and again, Art, he's non-vocal the entire time, so like it's not he's not like ignoring them, like he's just non-vocal, right? And in this entire time he's like not paying attention to Dawn. He just keeps his eyes on Tara. And so Dawn's like, messing around. I think she like
sits on his lap.
Hat. Yeah, she sits on his lap and does he break the hat? I think she breaks
no,
she just, okay. She takes a selfie.
She snaps at him. The whole time too, he wasn't making any like happy faces, right?
He does once, I think. He like smiles once at like Tara.
I think.
That's later, but when Dawn's interaction with her first,
I think because after that, after that whole interaction, Dawn goes back to sit down, and Tara's like, hey, what the heck? Like, why did you do that? And Dawn says, did you think...
Oh,
no, she says, and I quote, did you think he was going to cut me or hack me into little pieces? Which is foreshadowing for later.
Oh, that's good writing right there.
Oh, who would have thought about it? But then this is when Art finally like smiles at Tara, and you see all of his rotting teeth or whatever, and then he gets gets up, walks to the table, gets the quarter.
He gets talked to by the guy first though.
You're right.
He does the waiter comes or the owner and like ignores him, and he's just like, okay, whatever, and just walks off.
Yeah. Then he goes, picks up a quarter, puts it into a machine, gets a little toy ring.
From the tip. He took some of his tip. He took the tip.
And then he gives the ring to Tara, right? He I think he puts it on her finger too.
Oh no, he does, and this is again, I say callback, like as if this was the second one, but from the second movie, does the hands out exact the same exact in the other one, to Sienna. So Sienna, so he does the kind of like I'm presenting this to you, smiles, and she's just like, no, I don't want it. And he just kind of keeps on egging it on. So I don't know. I'm just gonna point out this is the scene that got me really hooked, and because again, with a lot of B movies, sometimes it's if you don't get me within the first 15 minutes or so, then it's just I'm not sticking around, especially if it's really slow. But the fact that this scene was just really well done, and his facial movement and just everything I thought was just really solid. It's creepy and it's fast enough paced to where you also know okay, this is obviously going to lead to no good, and you're just only making it worse for yourselves by not. I mean, it's bad either way, right? You play it wrong, you're making it worse, but if you don't play along, it's just as bad. So it's just kind of one of those creepy things. But this is I think this is one of his peak moments of showcasing his characters what he can do without talking, which is kind of cool.
Which is really good. And then after giving Tara the ring, he goes off to what we'll find out later is the restroom. Right? He kind of walks to the back. The girls get their food, whatever, and then Art gets kicked out of the restaurant by the owner dude or whatever. He's like, "Oh, you sicko, XYZ," and the other worker number 2, who's also in there, is like, "What happened? What the heck? What's going on?" Well, worker number 1, owner, manager, whatever you want to call him, is there kicking Art out of the building. He finally gets outside, and then Art has he has a literal trash bag that he carries around with his stuff.
Weapons.
Well, we know it's his weapons, but everybody else, I guess, is
a trash bag.
Trash bag, and he throws it outside with Art, right? The girls finish their food, and then they walk back to the car. When they're walking back to the car, this is where they find out that the tires are popped. And
they're slashed. Right?
They're slashed.
Here's my favorite line was, "Oh, I think it's because I ran over a nail." And I'm like, "How did all 4 tires?" I was like, that was my favorite line. I'm like, that is so stupid. I thought that was pretty good. That was a good one.
And then Tara makes the comment, right? "Oh, do you have a spare?" And then Dawn is like, "It's on the
spare.
car."
And as if the spare is gonna make all the tires. Oh man. So
you mean you don't just have 4 spares?
I guess not. Not everyone's as prepared as you. And so they get into the car, and then Tara is like, "Hey, we can call my sister Victoria to come pick us up," right? So they get on the phone. It's a little bit of dialogue, until Victoria's like, "Hey, I'll go pick you up. Just let me know where you are." So they get the address or whatever. Tara needs to go to the restroom, and lo and behold, it just so happens to be somebody standing outside of a warehouse or apartment.
Well, no, that's what caught their eye, was that they were sitting in the car, and he came out to smoke, and then they were like, "Hey, maybe that guy can let you in." And
and so she walks up to him. Some more dialogue until he eventually agrees to let her inside, right, to use the restroom. So while that's going on, we go back to the pizza parlor, and worker number 2 is in the restroom, and we can see that he's cleaning up all of the feces that Art left all over.
I will throw out there, he did taunt the owner when he kicked him out, because he did the hands like that, and to show him. So he physically
all over the
he did. He wrote his name, Art.
I remember that was gross.
There's a lot of.
I was watching with my friend. She was like, "Why did he do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. He just does that. He just does that.
Like his calling card."
But so the worker number 2, what does he say?
It was bloody too.
He's like, "I should get some overtime for this." What the heck?
Well, time and a half. Yeah,
Time and a half from walking, I think is what he says. But the owner never replies, and so after the job is done, when he's finally done cleaning, he goes to check out why the owner isn't there, and this is where you basically see like worker number one's head right
Yeah,
on,
it's like a
on the
jack-o'-lantern,
counter. Yeah, he
yeah.
turned into a
Jack-o'-lantern.
jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
Which is like, where the heck did he get the candles from?
Exactly. Like,
From the bag.
Yeah.
They were
Oh,
just in the trash bag.
You're right. Never mind.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
yeah, he says everything in there.
I mean, he does.
He
He
does.
does.
He does. He really does. And so immediately worker number two is like, oh, I'm going to call the freaking cops, right? He goes to get the phone and he dials 911.
Yeah.
And then Art just like chops
Cleavers
this guy's
his-
hand.
It's
in
like
half.
right.
On the fingers.
It's like right on the where the knuckles are across. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that looked like it hurt.
And his trash bag never rips, right?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, he has all this sharp in his
It's
bag and it
heavy.
just doesn't. It's like heavy duty, right?
It's heavy bread.
So I'm gonna.
Double bag.
It doesn't state it in this movie, but
Bag.
it doesn't state it in this movie per se. But if you've seen All Hallows Eve, I think the perception is we all know that Art is like some type of like almost I would say supernatural being. Like he has
Yeah.
supernatural powers because again, like why doesn't the bag rip? I think that's just part of his.
Supernatural trash
Yeah,
bag.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why the third one's a Christmas movie. It's
Yeah.
like Santa's sack.
Yeah,
That's
Oh.
great. He's gonna dress up like Santa.
He does.
Does he?
Yeah.
In the
That's in
teaser
the trailer?
trailer,
I didn't see the
I
trailer.
didn't
just
either,
like,
yeah.
just like Santa.
That's stupid.
And he's drinking milk and he's laughing.
He's drinking milk,
Yeah.
yeah, and he murks a kid.
He murks a kid.
I don't know.
They imply
Imply
it.
it.
They don't show it, but what were we? Oh yeah,
The jack-o'-lantern.
the
Oh no.
the guy's
Yeah.
hand
Yeah.
getting cut in
Yeah.
half, right? And then
Yeah.
Art's like, surprise! And he stabs him in the cheek.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
like this.
And then he does some eye stuff again.
Yeah, some more eye stuff.
So that would be the third one now because again we got the introduction. Obviously to do the jack-o'-lantern
Yeah,
stuff he had
that.
to, and then
Mhm.
this would be the third one. So three immediately. As I said, I think that's a very big thing in the first movie.
Yeah, we go back to the apartment building. Tara's let in. She goes to the restroom, right? The person who let her in is an exterminator who was about to close up the building so he can go ahead and fumigate the place. And so they're making small talk as they're walking to the restroom, right? She's like, oh, what kind of pests are here? And he's like, you don't want to know. Yeah, I do. They're rats. And she's like,
Yeah.
ugh, gross.
That bathroom was nasty.
Yeah, they go to the
I was
restroom
like,
and
oh,
it's
nah,
gross.
You know,
sorry.
you joke about that, but like traveling, I've had to use restrooms
Like that?
Yeah,
Oh.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like different for us, right? Because we don't when
You had to
we
sit down?
urinate.
yeah.
Oh, you
Oh,
get the
never
butt
mind.
herpes.
Yeah. Gotta sit down.
Why didn't they just use the bathroom in the pizza parlor?
She didn't have to go there.
Yeah, she didn't have to go.
Okay,
But if
the thing about what the restroom was.
After
I know, but like,
Oh, that's true. That the bathroom. He did something in the bathroom.
maybe it was closed.
So it was a canon event. He needed to do that, so they had to use a restroom in that building. See, it's all planned.
That's
It's all-
crazy.
he was like crunk. He was like crunk. It's all.
Damn, he's playing 40 chess.
Chess.
Like he's like, oh man, now that I think about it, man, oh man, stop everything.
Stupid.
The canon event.
7.5 out
The
of
movie
10.
gets going lower. I'm bringing it down to 7 actually.
So then we come back to Dawn, right, and she's in the car and she has a radio playing, and she hears over the radio that two people at the pizza parlor that they were just at, they name it here, yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
at the pizza parlor that they're just at were murdered by some person, right, in a clown costume. And I don't know how they knew there was some person in a clown costume.
Well, they said they did say passerby like was
Oh,
walking and heard screaming and saw this assailant leave, which as soon as she does that, it prompts her to scroll through her phone of the many pictures she took that night. And
Yeah.
then she pulls up the picture of her and Art, and he
Yeah.
does not look happy at all. He's like,
But then we hear the passenger door open. The entire time, the camera's only on Dawn,
Yeah.
right? In the
facing
driver's
like her,
side.
yeah, towards the
Yeah.
driver's
Yeah,
seat.
so it's basically like if you're watching this on YouTube, it's like this. If you're hearing this on anywhere else, sorry, but you can't. I don't know how to describe it. It's like
It's
this.
not showing who's in the passenger seat.
It's
Yeah.
showing just her seat.
Oh, you know, it's focused on the driver's seat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we hear the passenger door open, and
She
we don't.
thinks it's Tara.
Yeah, she thinks it's
She's
Tara.
like,
She
"Let's
says,
get outta
"Oh yeah,
here,"
let's get out of
and then
here."
it pans to not pans, but it shows that it's Art in the
Yeah,
car.
and he's like,
He's like, yeah. dun-dun-dun.
He's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
All right.
It's my car.
"True."
But then it comes back to Tara coming out of the restroom, and this is where she runs into, and I this is why I love that it's on Prime. If you ever get a chance to watch stuff on Prime, when you pause it, it has like what they call like X-ray, so it'll have all the names and the actors and stuff. So the character is the only character that does not have a name in this movie. They're just cat lady. They're just cat lady. That's what it's called. It's cat lady. Even though it has like one or two references kind of with cats, the rest of it. And you know what's funny? As soon as it said cat lady, I thought for a second it was Dennis's wife from It's Always Sunny. Because he kind of looks like that. Looks like her. That is her character name in the movie is Cat Lady.
That's funny. But she's just being weird, right? Yeah, like she says, she tells Tara like, "Oh, we're so glad that you came in, you tenant or something."
Yeah. She was the baby, the porcelain baby.
Porcelain baby.
She's like, "This is my daughter," and it's just.
I forgot the baby's name too.
Oh, it's hold on, I got you. It was
This was another thing too. I was watching my friend. She's like, "What's the point of this lady?" I'm like, I don't know.
It's for the scene at the second half of the movie.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
She's like, "What's the plot reason for this?"
I think it was Emily. I think it was Emily because she says it later on in the movie. Yeah.
There's so much of just like, what is the reason for this in that movie? And I was like, I couldn't explain anything. I was like.
I think this was one of those tie-ins, and again, I don't want to reference movies that we haven't talked about yet, but similar to the second one, there was also like these other like hanging thread things that like they don't talk about, and you're like, what was that about? And I think they're gonna hopefully answer some of that as the third movie comes in, but that like she does a lot of one-liners that are very like almost like not prophetic, but like almost they're like, just something that's like somebody like was a philosopher would say, like a philosopher would say, like she just says like I wish I wrote down some of the lines. Is it time is man, I wish I had it. It was time is wasted on something. I don't know, but yeah, like I think
freaking Socrates.
Yeah. So that I think that it was in there just to sprinkle in some of that because I think those are themes that are eventually going to, I don't know, come in later. And so that's my thought.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
So she's like, "This is my daughter," and shows the porcelain doll to Tara. And then Tara's like, "I gotta go find the landlord. I don't want my first month's rent to be late."
Yeah.
And then takes off, right? And it seems like she kind of gets turned around a little bit, right? Yeah. And then eventually finds the exit. And that's when we get the scene, right, of like Art. He's like standing there like this.
With this he goes like, which is the, I say callback, like as if it happened, but this is again his signature stance, right? The hands with the knife or whatever, and then runs.
Yeah, and he like runs at her.
And it's important to note she sees that the door now has padlocks and chains around it. So like they cannot go back through the front door. It is completely locked.
Yeah. So she, of course, turns and runs into, like, what I presume is the parking lot for the building. Like, there's just a bunch of cars. Yeah. This building, I'm very confused about.
I don't know what the building is.
Because at some points, they refer to it as a warehouse, but then the lady lives there, so, like, what is it?
There's an office on top?
Yeah.
I think it's like, has some offices in there, but it also is, like...
It's like an automotive
It's like an automotive garage stuff, but, like, a lot of buildings, sometimes you'll notice, too, like... They have multi-purpose stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's multiple businesses. Yeah. And so I think there's an automotive shop at the bottom, which has the creepy catacombs thing. Not really, but like,
Oh yeah, I don't even know
which had similar architecture to All Hallows Eve. Like very similar architecture.
All Hallows Eve. If you've never seen it, it's basically an anthology.
I thought you asked about that.
I asked about it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, All Hallows Eve is like the anthology, which is really just Art the Clown, and then the second one that is only good because Art the Clown comes in at the end. Like
so it's two. There's only two.
No. It's okay. There's the anthology is 3 stories,
but Art's
two of which are Art.
3. I thought there were more.
There's 3.
There's the...
Oh, is it 4? It's 4. It's 4.
Yeah.
It's 4. And technically they think the first one, which is the one with the ritual and stuff, is what they consider Art to be from. I think is the... later. We'll get into that.
What the heck?
Because
they're reaching.
No, it's not reaching because it's
He's deep in the community.
They're thinking too
you're
hard.
not reaching.
You're not in the lore. You didn't get the lore. You didn't get the lore done.
They literally like this is the whole
This
movie.
is
They're
like
like
the movie.
they're like we're gonna make this shit gross as possible. Just throw in every single scene, and that's the movie. There's no direction for it. They're like
get the lore.
they're just like there's no lore.
They're making up.
He doesn't
They make it up as they go along. They're like, oh yeah, that sounds good.
This is coming from the guy that missed all the lore dump from like
Every
Night with the
movie.
Devil. Yeah, they literally spent 10 minutes explaining what the movie's like happening.
no
and then he's
lore
like,
in this
he was
movie.
like, wait, what? That what? They said that? Like, yes, they gave you a whole lore
He
dump.
said, "Oh, I didn't think it was important."
Yeah.
The first one.
All the lore. So we've established Justin does not.
There's no lore in this movie. There's no lore.
He can give you all the Silent Hill supposed lore, but he can't give you
Supposed lore.
Supposed lore.
Supposed lore. He's like, there's no lore in Silent Hill.
Oh, he has the pyramid.
There's the pyramid and there's nurses and that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Anyways, Art the Clown, you're being chased by a killer clown, right? You want to like find somewhere to hide. So they're kind of doing like this dance around the cars, right? Where she's like hiding behind some of them, and you see Art kind of skulking in the background.
This was another, I think, again, for as much as you say the movie's bad, I think they did a really good job with the like tension, anticipation, right? Like, because she can see him. You don't know if he can quite see her, even though it's like you would think it's obvious when somebody's peeking their head in the window, right? But I know it's dark in there, but like cat and mouse, like perfect cat and mouse.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a respectable length of this scene, and I thought this was another
staple scene.
Yeah, and I think it again another way it establishes his character in a way that, again, for a silent character to show off his personality, right? Like he's ridiculous. He's going to be goofy with it, but he can also be menacing. Like, you can hear the sounds of his, like, the only sound you're hearing is, like, from the clown shoes, right? The rubber.
So,
you can hear the metal scraping on metal when he's scraping I think at this point it's the,
so it's like a
it's
scalpel,
the
right?
scalpel,
Yeah.
it's a scalpel, and you can hear, like,
Against the windshield.
yeah. So, I think, simple and effective.
Yeah.
What I do,
Sorry, go for it.
What I do remember that I like about both of these movies is whenever they have him being silly, it like adds comedic relief, but it almost makes it that much more creepy, right? Because he's just
exactly.
doing it, like,
Yeah.
and I just love that. I love that about his character.
Establishes
these movies.
Establishes him as a really good horror icon. I'm glad he's starting to finally get his flowers and he's starting to become TikTok, right? He's like in all the different TikTok memes now. Like he was a little bit with the eyeballs. I think now is what is it? They play the from Rose Red, and it's them doing the like, and then he does the smile like that one. So people are starting to watch it. He's starting to become a meme. Like he's starting to be more popularized in the horror community.
He's getting recognition.
He's getting recognized. They gonna put him over Ghostface on the
No.
on the Mount Rushmore to beat him with the glasses. Him with the glasses. You just sunflower with the hands.
That's the worst.
It's gonna be him with the little horn.
That was the best.
Alright, continue. Sorry.
Okay, so speaking of being dark and menacing while being silly, we get the camera's now focused on Tara, right? We see like the upper half of her body, and she's starting to like leave her hiding spot, and then all of a sudden she gets stabbed in the ankle by the freaking scalpel, and that's when I was like, ooh,
Yeah, it's just like.
Yeah, like you could like, it's just, ugh, gross.
Gross.
And then she runs away like nothing happened.
Yeah. It's like, right, dude.
Oh, she runs by me. She's
now
a
I give it a
legend.
six.
Like she's
again, she's limping, but again, I've already made this case. If you kid all y'all, oh, it's okay. If the dude from Apocalypto can literally outrun a cheetah, and he got speared in his abdomen. He had a spear in his abdomen.
That's different times. Different times. People were built different back then.
She was trying to survive.
Just like you're saying, Tara goes to the exact same front door. It's locked.
Yeah.
Like she can't get out, right? And so she decides like, oh, I'm gonna go upstairs.
Yeah.
And she goes upstairs and she finds the exterminator who she saw when she first got into the building, and he has his headphones in and he's like jamming out to music or whatever, right? Like mopping up the floor. No, he's not mopping. He's
spraying. But she doesn't continue running to him. She stops in the doorway.
Why?
Well, because she got hurt in her leg and she can't run anymore. You see, you were complaining about it, and now she has.
She was this close, right, to the hell.
She was literally all she had to do is just. I think she called a phone at one point actually too. She tried in the office.
You're right.
Yeah.
But She was limping around, I guess.
Yeah.
Jeez, how good.
So she's like yelling and hollering, all these other things. The exterminator can't hear him. Of course, as soon as the exterminator turns around, Art the Clown gets her and puts her to the side to where she can't like be seen from the hallway. And then basically like gets this like the world's longest needle. It's like comedically long, right? It's like huge,
some
just
weird,
like freaking
milky substance.
Which again, another like classic thing he does, because in every movie, including All Hallows Eve, that is one of the things he does.
He syringes people.
Yeah. He does it in the second one with I don't remember his name.
The brother.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
He always does it at least one time.
He syringes someone.
He has to knock him out.
Yeah.
The chloroform bottle's glass. If he can't carry that around. He can't carry that around. Can't carry glass. That would break. He has a lot of metal objects in there.
So he needs hooks.
Even though the syringe is also
So then we cut to Tara waking up, right? And she's like strapped into this chair in the basement somewhere deep in the bowels of the building. Has her mouth taped so she can scream, but she can't like get anything out. Arms taped to the chair.
It's like a wood chair too.
Yeah. And Art the Clown is like kind of doing like this thing.
Through his like stuff. Right?
Yeah,
He's doing like, and this is where like you kind of get like that Joker-esque like comedicism, right? He kind of like really hams it up because again, personality showing even though he doesn't say a word.
This scene was kind of funny. Not the scene this scene, but like this scene right now was pretty funny with the hammer. It was pretty funny when he pulls out the hammer. He's like.
Yeah, he like pretends to hit her or whatever.
He's like looking, so he's just taunting her, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that scene. Like...
And so this is what's going on in one half of the room, and the other half of the room there's like a
tarp
thing that's covering it, so he can't see what's behind. But Art the Clown, being the generous man he is, wants to show us what's behind the curtain, right? So he goes and he tears the curtain down, and we see that it's Dawn hanging upside down,
butt naked.
She is buck naked, right? She's hanging upside down, right? And then, of course, they're both screaming, right? Tara and Dawn are like, what the heck's going on? And I'm kind of like, Dawn, if you were there, why didn't you, like...
Do anything? Yeah.
Like...
Maybe she was syringed.
Well, yeah, but, like, at when the light finally hits her eyes, that's when she becomes conscious. Because you can hear her screaming from the tape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's besides the point. I guess they wanted a grand reveal.
Yeah.
Well, so
you're asking too much for a low budget.
Yeah.
It's all vocals, right?
Yeah, I know, for real.
They paid for line.
So this scene kind of reminded me of not that the two are necessarily connected or the one's a reference to the other, but in House of a Thousand Corpse, when they go upstairs.
It's been a long time.
Well, there's a scene where they go upstairs and I guess the older brother like has like something that he's hiding behind the curtain.
Oh, is it when he's the mermaid?
Yeah.
Oh,
he reveals and it's the fish boy.
Fish boy.
What's his name? Rainn Wilson.
Yeah,
Rainn Wilson. The dude from The Office. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is the dude from the Dwight. His wife from The Office.
What?
Yeah, you realize that Dwight
is
his wife from The Office.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Anyways, so the reveal of Dawn just reminded me of the reveal of Fish Boy for whatever freaking reason. I have no idea. Anyways, this is the scene where my roommate walked in. Where Art the Clown basically like pulls out this freaking handsaw, right? And like Dawn, remember, she's hanging upside down and her legs are...
I think he was originally going to saw her and then she moved. That's why he moved over there, right?
No, I don't...
Because she had the saw next to her, like he was going to saw her.
Oh, no, I think... I think the plan was always to saw Dawn.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
just like, look what I got.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dawn is hanging, right? Her legs are like a 45-degree angle. And Art gets the saw and starts from her lady bits and goes all the way down. And it's just brutal.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, and then during this, very important to note, so Tara is like freaking out. She's trying to get out, and she actually like hulks through and breaks one of the wooden arms of the chair. I thought that was insane. I think that was probably more like the adrenaline really kicking in, like fight or flight. So she breaks the arm handles. She ends up like getting one of the handles off for sure and the tape. And then as Art's coming that way, she gets the tape off of her her legs. And I think I think she like, I'm trying to remember exactly what she did. She basically breaks the handles. She backhands Art. She like backhands him like that, kind of takes him aback. And then she ends up like, I think with a knife, ended up getting him in the back.
She stabs.
Yeah, and so she runs off. And this is where I think I want to point out this scene. I thought this was really cool. So basically, we're always getting it from the perspective of like, you know, Survivor or whatever, and then behind them, right? We talked about the Batman effect where like somebody's behind them. So he's looking for her.
Oh, Art's we're back in the parking lot.
Yeah,
and Art's looking for her.
Tara. And she's behind him with the 2x4. So it's like, oh, the tables have turned, right? And so she like, I mean, she wallops him good.
She hits him hard.
Yeah, she beats him like really extensively to where it's like, oh wait, she might dang. I'm like, trying to pull this off, which. I guess I'll finish it out. So he's like, it looks like he's going down for the count. Like, I mean, she's winning, and so this is the turning point of the movie. Literally,
I think this is
this is the exact turning point, and it is the halfway point. So Art's like, he's looking up. He kind of like does the face where he's like, oh, I think you got me right. He kind of has this thing. And then he pulls out the 9 and wham, like, and shoots her in the leg. And shoots her in the leg. And then
kill her with a gun. I'll kill her with a gun.
That's
stupid.
He's literally a killer clown. You don't think you have like
gun?
Joker had a gun in Batman. He literally, Joker shot down a literal bat plane in the sky with a singular Magnum. Extendo. Remember that one? You ever seen the old Batman movie? So he pulls it out. It's in an anchor holster, which is important to note for later on in the movie. Takes her down. He hits her again in the side.
Something like that.
Yeah, hits her again in the side. And then it looks like it was going for the head, but I think it goes to the cheek. Is what they revealed. Like, went through the cheek. And she's still kind of like alive.
She's conscious.
Yeah, conscious. And the reason he doesn't run out of ammo, and he's just like does this like whatever thing. But I did mark the time. It is exactly the halfway point of the movie. 40 minutes. Everything we just described, all the chaos and everything that happened within the first 40 minutes. So I know y'all talk about pacing and like, oh man, like there are some weird things with some of the pacing. But I think it's to fill up some of the time where like there's not stuff going on. And that's something that was interesting about this movie was like this constantly things happening. Like it's just constantly just things that are going on. You know what I mean? Versus like a lull, which I will say the second movie has a lot of like dead lull times. Like I would say the second's probably more egregious than the first.
No, the second one's good though.
Second one's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying the second one. The second one's like 2 hours, right?
We saw it together. Well, we saw it,
and then
we saw it again, and then we saw it again,
and then we saw it at mom's.
We saw it at mom's.
I made my mom
But yeah,
watch
but like I would say that was like the 40-minute mark, and so I think when I was a first watch, and if you watched it at home, I think you felt the same way. Was like, so what's gonna happen? We have another like 40-something minutes of this movie because you like sometimes you pause already like, oh, the movie's already gonna be over, and it's like, wait, no, there's like another half of this movie.
Yeah.
And so I think we kind of figure out at this point. I don't think the protagonist is the protagonist of this movie anymore. Like, so definitely that's a turning point.
Yeah. Art runs out of ammo, right?
Yeah, so he walks off.
He walks off, and then the camera like switches, and now we're following Victoria, and she arrives at the building, right? Like, just kind of looking for what's up.
It took her that long to go pick up her sister.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, because she lives out of town, she's at college. I will point out during the last scene or whatever with the shots. There was it did pan to the cat lady again.
Oh, you're right.
With her doll, and she's talking to her, and she's telling. No, she didn't see him yet. She's just in the weird like back like corridor. It looks like the one from what's the other movie? The first one we reviewed. Looks like the underground corridor for no the first
Ghost Encounter.
Oh, Ghost Encounter. It looked like that.
It
looked like that. Like a very long underground corridor almost. And she's in the vat with the baby telling her it's okay. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to have new neighbors or whatever right now. Like, so, but yeah, because she hears it. She hears everything. Like she's hearing all the everything. And so again, another cat lady moment.
Victoria's trying to get a hold of Dawn and Tara. And so she tries calling, she tries texting, all these other things. But then Art finds the phone, right? And he texts.
To come to the back.
Yeah, to come around the back. And so Victoria's like, okay, whatever. And then Art gets more ammo. He goes back to Tara.
Just unloads the clip in her.
Well, sorry.
Did you write double tap?
No, I didn't. But as he's walking away from Don's body, he takes the selfie with it.
Oh,
and then he goes back to Tara and then double taps.
He's like, no, not even. I think I wrote double tap because like you always complain about zombie movies, right? Like, oh, I didn't. And then,
well, he shoots her in the head.
And then it is.
And then he just keeps shooting her.
Six. I guess it only holds 6, which is weird because he only had 3 originally before it ran out.
Maybe he had used it before.
Yeah, probably.
He didn't use it in All Hallows Eve.
It's also like movie logic, right? They only have as much ammo as they need, right? Like in action movies, they unload pistols that are only supposed to hold 9 bullets.
Yeah, that's true.
So and this is where Cat Lady runs into her because he makes eye contact and I think that's where did I write? She
does
sees
the
I will also throw out before that there was something that happened before that. As Tara is trying to get into the building, she sees Dawn's hat. Which
you're right.
I guess maybe she has her on Instagram and saw that she was wearing the outfit and saw the hat. So she sees the hat at the front door and realizes, like, that's weird. Like, why would her hat be there? So she's trying to get in this entire time. And so she gets a text, because she's trying to figure out where they're at. And it's going to voicemail. So she gets a text from Don's phone, which was after he took the selfie with it, which was, hey, come to... Or it was before. It was come. Tara's sick, come around back.
Yeah.
So, like, he basically led her to try to get her way in because she knew she was calling or whatever, and that happened. Then that scene you just described happened, which after that I believe the Cat Lady then tries to run and finds the janitor. And
she runs around the building.
I say janitor, sorry, the exterminator.
That dude. Y'all know the band Stain?
No.
The band Stain, that old band from 2000.
Yeah.
That dude looks like the singer from Stain.
He probably is the singer.
I thought that. I was like, is this? He looks exactly like him. I was like, is this the dude? And I forgot Stain's like 40. 50, 60 now, so it can't be him. But he looks like the dude from Stain. He looks exactly like him.
I don't know. Chris Jericho comes out in the second one.
Who?
Chris Jericho. Who? He said who? Okay. But yeah, so Cat Lady is like trying to explain to him what's going on.
Yeah, the exterminator.
But again, like she sounds like crazy, so he's like, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? Because he's like, who are you?
He's like, nobody should be in the building.
Yeah, building. Because I mean, he's exterminating. I'm assuming he's fumigating pretty heavily, so like he could get hurt or something.
So he walks downstairs, so like this is happening on like the middle floor, right? Like the second floor, third floor, or whatever.
The staircase thing, that little middle thing.
Yeah, so he walks down the stairs to call somebody else, and I think he's calling
the owner. No, he's calling another guy. It's another employer. Is it Will? I thought it was Mike.
His name is Mike. The first exterminator's name is Mike. And I think Will's the second one. Which just goes to your point, right? Like, these people, like, they all have names except for Cat Lady.
And they don't ever say the names. I guess they do. They do because they're on the phone.
They say Mike's name. I don't think they ever say Will's name. But they credit him in the credits.
That's Will. But important to note, too, is he's making this phone call. He also is freaking out, too, because he's like, he hears Victoria yelling for Tara, and so he's like, "What is happening? Like what? I'm just trying to fumigate. I let one person in, and all of a sudden there's like all these people in here." And I will say, this is the one scene. Looking back on it now, looking at it again, I did not like this. Probably the cheapest spot that they recorded was the hammer. So like as soon as he like turns, because he's on the phone doing whatever, because the guy's like, I think the guy he's waiting for him to answer, and he turns. And he just basically art with the hammer, and it's just really quick. Yeah. No, I thought it was the front. It's the front. It's the front because he turns and sees it, and it's just like that quick. You can tell it's just like a fake dummy head, and like they just like cut it before it does really anything, right? Before you can tell it's fake. But looking back on it, I will say that's the one scene I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty bad. That's a pretty bad scene.
That's the one bad scene.
That's the one. That's the one bad.
That's the one bad scene.
It's the one. Everybody's gonna have one.
So Mike goes down, right? Just got hit in the face with a hammer. Drops his phone. The guy that he's
Oh,
calling picks up and he's like, "Why are you calling me at 3 a.m.?" Whatever. And then Art like looks at the phone and just smashes it with the hammer. Yeah. And then
before you get to the next thing, this is where she says the name. So y'all asked about the baby's name. I remember it because when I was watching it, she says Emily. When the janitor walks away, she freaks out because no, the baby's not gone. She doesn't have her. She's not with her because she freaked out about everything that was happening. Yeah. She left her behind. So that was a key for her to like leave because in her mind that's her child, right?
Yeah. So Victoria and Cat Lady are walking around the building just kind of trying to figure out what's going on, right? Victoria looking for Dawn and Tara. Cat Lady looking for Emily until Cat Lady ends up in like what you're talking about, the corridor, like long brooding hallway or whatever. It looks like they could have filmed like Saw 1 down the fucking hall, right?
I think it was the same hallway from Saw 1. It's like, to describe it, it is like, you can tell it's lower underground. It's under the building. It's like really,
it's like
or really like white. I would say sewage. It's like a really, like it's almost like what they would consider a electrical corridor. Like you have a lot of like the pipes and things that are like where gas and water run through, like through the pipes underneath there. It's like very industrial, like an industrial basement, if you will, and it's like a white wall.
Well, she finds Art holding the baby, right? Like doing his whole creepy clown thing.
Yeah.
And she goes up to him saying some more like Aristotle, Socrates garbage.
Oh yeah.
And what does she say? She's like, "Show some compassion. Do you have a mother?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, she said, "Do you show no compassion?" Because she's trying to figure him out. Because she's just in her mind. She's like, "I want to get the doll, the doll." And so she says, "Have you ever like had a mother's love?" And then that's what triggers him, right? Kind of like
started to suck his thumb.
Yeah, and she like touches his face, and he's like all receptive or whatever. And then I want to say from there, just like after they do that, it's kind of, I would say that's another awkward scene. Like okay, but I think for that it's just kind of like, oh, is there maybe something like we don't know, like some hidden thing, and it doesn't. You realize really quickly later on that was not the case.
So the other exterminator shows up. Just like, before everybody else, he's trying to get into the building, whatever. He finds a key under a mat. Veronica finally gets inside and calls Dawn, and she starts walking into like...
He does not find the key yet, by the way.
Oh, sorry. She starts walking into like this dark, I guess, half floor, something like that.
Yeah.
Like
another basement. I don't know. I keep on saying basement. There's lower levels, but they're not basements. But they're not quite basements because they're not low enough.
Half basements.
But they're like they go like
pseudo basements.
Yeah, pseudo basements. There we go.
Yeah, they're just weird.
Basement-esque.
I want to see. You know what we need next time? Somebody needs to watch it, and they need to like do like a engineer schematics of like the like the architecture building.
I'm sure that's a real building. I'm sure you can like it's somewhere.
Yeah, but like. To floor plan. I want to see the floor plan exactly because I get turned around. I'm like, what is the word? Like, it's actually a really good like site though. Like I thought it was
for
like,
a horror movie.
Because if you think about this too, let's throw this out there. If you think about this too, after the 20-minute mark, I think is when they get in the building and outside of like a couple people driving into the parking lot, they spend the entire movie in this building.
Isn't it just like a brick building from the outside?
Yeah. And the outside it looks like a townhome.
Yeah, it does.
Or like an office.
Probably was. They're like, change locations.
Because they have the rats with eating the hot Cheetos and the road cheese.
But she starts walking to the direction of where the ringtone is coming from, and she finds like somebody who's laying face down like that.
Their hair's down, and she thinks it's Tara.
Yeah,
I thought she heard screaming.
She did hear screaming.
Yeah.
But then
it wasn't screaming. She heard groaning, and the only reason I know that is I had the subtitles on. It said groaning.
And she looks off to the side, and on the side we see Cat Lady. Right, and do we see?
Cat Lady.
Well, she was screaming, and then she thinks it's Tara, so she runs down there.
She runs.
She's not
following the ringtone.
She does not run.
No,
she goes scared because she has the phone light and she's going very timidly. Like this one is another one of those like anticipatory. You don't know because you've already seen everything that happens and she has no clue what has gone on because she has not been there whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, anyways, turns out the person that she's there laying down on the floor with is actually Art the Clown in a wig, or I guess Cat Lady's hair. Yeah,
scalped her.
Which basically they do that in the second movie.
Yeah. Oh, they do, yeah.
With who?
The bedroom.
Oh,
Oh,
you're right.
yes.
You're right.
So they scalp the cat lady and they remove her. Wait.
Oh, those are hers.
Those are hers.
Tara runs out and we see Art the Clown
Yeah.
emerge from the
Oh,
freaking
gross.
thing doing like this
Weird dance.
Yeah, dance, and he's wearing the cat lady's
He's
chest
butt
on his
naked,
chest.
too.
Yeah, he's naked. Yeah, so he's like, doing this whole thing or whatever, and of course,
She hides in a closet.
yeah, she hides in some kind of closet that's another like half
Like a
floor
locker
upstairs.
thingy.
Yeah, whatever. And
It's
she's
the
like
Metal
looking
Gear
through the
Solid.
people.
It's the Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually the eye was CGI. That was
Yeah.
the only CGI in the movie, which I think's alright, I guess. At least from what I saw.
So, Victoria's hiding in a closet, and then Art, I guess he like technically finds her, right? Because he
Yeah.
like does something.
He like starts to shake.
He shakes the
something
closet.
like that.
Yeah, it's one of the anticipatory. You're hiding, and
Yeah.
they see me, they shake it, and then the reason I said that he didn't get in yet was because
now he gets
he's
in.
honking because
You're
he's
right.
getting angry because he
Yeah.
can't get in.
Yeah.
The other exterminator
Exterminator.
that showed up, and then eventually throws his stuff in the back, and then something clicks in him like, why don't I look under the mat? As if that's a normal thing that everybody does for every business. So he
Yeah.
opens the mat, and there's a key. And
That's
he's
bad.
like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and get in.
And there's like 4 doors to get inside this building,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yes, there's I mean, I would expect it because it is a pretty big building that has like for everything that it has to have. It also has the garage door for the like
Yeah.
automotive area, which
that
plays
must
another
have been
role.
a pain in the butt for the exterminators. They had to lock every single one.
Yeah.
They probably didn't like every single one. I think they just had a key to the front. The problem was that homie put the lock and chain around it. So even that's when remember the guy looked down there like, what the heck? Like I can't even get out.
Yeah.
So other exterminator gets into the building. He starts following like footsteps, right? Like bloody footsteps or something like that are on the ground.
Well, he's just finding weird stuff too.
Yeah.
Like he's like finds the doll and it's all
Yeah,
messed
right.
up. And of course, I mean, I would just have left at that
Yeah.
point. You know what? Just, I'm leaving. See ya.
And so eventually, like, he kind of crouches down, and then that's when, surprise, surprise, Art shows up, and he like stabs him
Yeah.
in the head, and somehow this guy is still functionally alive, right? And then he starts like sawing the
yeah.
heck out of this guy's neck, and he's like trying to fight it or whatever
Yeah.
until Art like
pulls it off.
pulls his head off. Yeah. So I will say, I haven't seen this movie before we watched it for this episode. I hadn't seen this movie in like
A long time.
like it had to be like 6 months or something like that. I think I watched
6 months.
because we watched it with our mom
Oh.
like a little while ago.
The first one?
Yeah, this one
Oh.
a little while ago, I think.
I hadn't seen it in like years.
I forgot how gory this movie
Yeah,
is.
it's really gory,
There's
yeah.
a lot of gore. Like every single second that they can, they pack it full of gore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shoot, okay, 5.5 out of 10.
5.5.
So then Art rips this guy's head off, right? It looks like a freaking fatality from Mortal Kombat. And Victoria like
They should
gets
put
out
him
of the
in They
closet.
should put him in Mortal Kombat. That'd be
I
dope.
think they had talked about it, and I think they were even in agreement that like they would let. Actually, it was even in Dead by Daylight. I think.
They're gonna put Art the Clown.
No, they're not. But they had advocated
Yeah.
for it because that was like, and they're like, yeah, like, do it. And then of course, DVD can't get things right.
Yeah.
Oh, I got Chucky, so I guess
Yeah,
that's
that's
fair.
fine.
So then they can
Shut
play
up.
Chucky.
So this is a scene too, where it finally clicked, where I started to see a lot more parallels between this one and the second one. Victoria is like walking, into the basement or whatever, and she like hears something, and she hides behind this like doorway. We see Art the Clown coming on a tricycle.
Okay, this was another thing that I didn't catch until the last watch we had. So after he does his fatality, he like soccer kicks
Oh yeah.
the head, and it hears ding. He hits the tricycle.
Oh,
And I never
yeah,
noticed
yeah.
that. I never
Yeah.
noticed that. So like,
Yeah.
then that's why he's like,
That's why he finds it.
oh, and so yeah. So then she leaves the closet, tries to escape, finds the 50th door that like is locked with a chain and thing, and she's trying to get it, and then you just hear ding 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 ding, and he's ready to
Right.
and he crashes it. He crashes it multiple times. He crashes it
Yeah.
once, and I think the first one was on a mistake, and he just rolled with it. Like he turned into like the box where he's like,
Yeah.
and he's like, and he like pushes himself off, does it again, and then he just like goes away. And then
He
like,
comes back.
well, no, because she runs somewhere else and she gets behind cars. And then he does it again.
Yeah, he does.
And then he goes off camera again. And when he goes off camera the second time, you hear like he crashed through like a bunch of stuff. I was like, what is happening? It's so stupid.
That's
pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
He was like, you know what? If the puppet from Saw can do it, I can do it.
Riding around. So then Victoria like starts walking away again, right? And then Art comes behind her with a plastic bag.
Oh, yeah.
And then Victoria has like those immaculate lungs, right?
Yeah,
Where she like
she's
holds her breath
yeah.
for forever, and then
eventually she rips it.
Yeah, she does what every time like something like this happens in a movie, everybody always says just rip a hole in the bag. Well, lucky for you, Victoria does it. She rips a hole in the bag.
But she took like a good 45 seconds to figure it out because she just kept on trying to pull the bag away from his hands. I'm like, that's not gonna work. And then eventually she's like, you know what? Just look.
Yeah, she has the Sydney Sweeney lungs in immaculate where they dunk her in the water.
Yeah.
And
then when he had he looks at the bag, he's like, oh,
yeah, he's looking at the bag. He's like, what the heck, bro?
He's like, my trash bag.
My bag grip is spoiled. My plan. Go ahead. I was gonna say she escapes because she gets him with a railroad spike.
Yeah,
it
looks like a railroad spike. It's this huge nail.
I think it goes in his arm. It's like under his armpit or something, right? Or is that
I think it's his foot.
Yeah, it's his foot.
Yeah, it's his foot. Okay.
It's his foot. Yeah. She stabs him in his foot, and then she runs off, and then this is where she finds Tara's body.
But before that, he throws the bird.
Oh, he does. You're right. He does.
She's
walking away.
Yeah, he
flips her off.
He gets mad.
I'm pretty sure that was improv.
That was
probably improv.
I leave that in there.
I think the vast majority of his acting is just improv. Like
with the tricycle thing too.
The whole movie's improv. Just film all these scenes and we'll make it work.
Yeah. So then she finds the ladder. She finds a ladder that leads to somewhere, but it doesn't open because of course another thing that's latched, that's closed. And this is where I think they now pan back to Exterminator 1, and he's waking up.
Yeah,
somehow he survived. A hammer hit to, which I remember that was one complaint I had when I first watched it. I was like, how do you I mean, you have to be severely concussed, but like he gets up. I mean, he's bleeding a little bit, but I'm like, if you got hit full velocity with a hammer, I don't think you just get up from that after just a couple minutes, So I don't know.
It wasn't a couple minutes. Probably a while.
Yeah, it's
runtime was when Tara came in and all that. It was about like the 45-minute mark. And
that didn't happen in 45 minutes. It might have happened.
I think we were seeing it live.
Probably.
We were seeing it live. Which is also, to be clear, was also like in the morning. Because like you're talking about when they announced the pizzeria thing, they talked about it earlier this morning, which means it had to have been between midnight and
I think
2 a.m.
I think when Victoria gets to the building, she looks at her clock and it's like 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Or it's either she looks at her clock or when Art looks at the text, something like that.
Yeah,
at
like
that
3
point,
a.m.
it's like 3 a.m.
They probably just told him right there, like, okay, you have to do this kill. You have these tools. Okay, just do
Yeah,
whatever you want, but this has to
yeah.
happen.
And so Art finds Victoria, and this is like I guess the second movie throwing back to this one. Is he has that whip thing that he uses
that's
on
his signature
piano.
weapon.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
makeshift whip.
Yeah, it sounds like a bunch of like
Surgical
scalpels
tools.
and
Yeah.
scissors and all these other things, and he's like
another
"Yeah,
surprise. Mike comes with the save with the fire extinguisher, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, like a fire extinguisher. He takes him out. And it's like, all right, let's go. Again, doesn't stay to do anything. Just hey, let's go. Come on, we're good. And then they think they end up going to their little like
some office. I'm assuming the landlord's office. It looks like the
or the engineer's office. Like again, like
something.
somewhere underground. Because again, it looks like it's like an engine. And I say engineer because like my dad is an engineer at a building. So like when you go underneath the building to see all the like pipes that run all the water through that big tower, like it looks exactly like that. Like there's just pipes running all across and. So it looks like one of maybe their offices where that's where the guy is, like you're saying, like the owner.
And there's a phone in there, so he goes ahead and calls 911. And this is when I realized the biggest plot hole or whatever. Mm-hmm. This entire time, Victoria has her phone on her. This whole time.
Yeah, she does.
She's probably just freaking out.
At some point, she didn't want to call the police.
Yes.
Did she pull it out at any other time? Because the last time I remember seeing her with it was when she goes down in the basement before she sees anything really, because she's using it as a phone flashlight.
Exactly.
But I don't know if she dropped it or anything after the fact. You get what I'm saying?
But at that point, like, You could call the police.
But if she dropped it and you can't go back to, would you go back to that area after what you saw?
I
Probably
would have called the cops as soon as I got the feeling of something weird. I mean, I call the cops all the time.
He's a narc.
He's a narc.
I am a narc.
You're just being safe.
But yeah, she as far as I know, she never drops her phone. She has it the entire movie. Mike is on the phone. Hey, we need police and EMS. We need an ambulance. We need y'all right now. Oh, but instead of staying put and waiting for y'all, we're gonna go back to the building where the killer clown is, and I'm gonna get her to the hospital myself.
Well, because I think they tell him to stay, and then he's like, no, I got to get her out of the hospital now, because he's more concerned about her, which again, that was similar to the last movie we saw, right? Like, okay, I need to wrap up that wound. You're not gonna make it. Kind of similar thing. Like, you know what? I don't think this girl's in very good, health. So they gotta help her out. So yeah, they go out of the room, which was again another corridor, hallway, whatever.
Yeah, he says that they're gonna go to his truck.
Yeah, and so she's trying to open these doors that again have another chain and lock. Like I'm like, dude, this man has a lot of chains and locks. So she's trying to open it, and he walks further away, and then Art comes with the gas canister from his exterminator thing, and hits him over the head, knocks him on the ground, and he keeps hitting him a little bit, right? And then we finally get the shot where we see Art stomp the rubber cloud shooter.
Stomps this guy's head in, and just tomatoes all over the freaking floor. It's gross.
That's kind of gross. And again, another supernatural strength.
And then Victoria gets a bar, and she finally breaks open the lock. And of course, she's stopped by Art. They have a little bit of, fighting kind of whatever, until she finally ends up out of the building. And just to go right back into the building.
She ran back in.
She ran back in to the giant doors that say keep out.
Yeah. That's what I was like.
Otherwise, the movie would have just ended right there. Justin, she had to go back in.
She didn't activate the gate doors. She 99 did that.
So these doors are again held together by chain and lock. Wow. And she's able to squeeze through them, right? And she's 6 feet away from the doorway or whatever, and then Art's
grabs
antagonizing her.
her hair. She grabs her hair. And he actually rips out some hair, and then he does the horn right
out.
That was a good scene. That was the best scene in the whole movie. She's like, what do you want? And that was good. That was a good scene.
He had that when
I would say this is the biggest plot hole, and I'll tell you why. Why did he need to buy the horn in the second movie if he already has one?
Maybe the other one had blood on it.
Yeah.
He needed a new one, a shiny one.
Yeah. But he didn't buy the glasses. He liked the glasses.
Because he needed the horn.
He had
The other one ended up in the crime scene, right? The little Ziploc bag.
Oh, it did.
Let's go buy a new one.
It did.
You have to get a new one.
This is Exhibit B.
So Art the Clown finally walks away, right? Or whatever. You assume he walks away, and she's has a moment to catch her breath or whatever. And then she looks through the doorway again, through the crack in the door.
She hears the sirens. She hears the sirens.
Yeah, she hears the sirens from the police and all of them. And then you just see the truck lights turn on.
Art the Clown driving the truck.
Barrels through the...
Runs her over.
And he's playing some fucking clowncore or something like that.
Clowncore is crazy.
Are you plugging clowncore music right now?
Sure, why not?
Check out clowncore.
What's the band's name?
They call it clowncore. The band's legit.
Can you for our audience, Justin, explain visually what clowncore is?
It's two dudes in a porta potty playing
dressed like
clowns, playing. I don't know, what's essentially freeform jazz.
Oh no.
In the porta potty.
They do have the horn.
They have the horn, yeah.
They do travel with the porta potty too,
They do.
correct? They're at the festivals and stuff at Coachella, and they have the porta potty.
That's their stage. The stage is the porta potty. They have to gather around the porta potty to see them play.
Art the Clown comes barreling through, runs over Victoria, or hits her, and she goes flying. And then you listen to the clowncore, and then he gets out of the car, right? And he just kind of goes over to her, and he takes a little bit of her flesh off of it. And he's like, "Oh, this tastes good. Let me have a snack." And he starts eating her face.
That's when the cops come, right?
Which is another not a callback because again this is the first movie, but like he does do the same thing at the end of the second movie with the ankle.
He's a cannibal. I don't know if he's a cannibal because he's not human,
again.
but...
I think it's
Anyways, cops show up and they're like, "Put your hands up, or we're gonna go blah blah." So they're like giving him all these warnings. They're like, "We're gonna count to 100. If you don't put both your hands up, then we're gonna go ahead and shoot you." And he's like, he has one hand up, and then the other one,
the right hand.
yeah. And then the other one, he's like reaching for, his strap that we all know that he has, which is also a different firearm than the one that he had before. Before he had a revolver, this one's like a pistol.
No, the first one's a pistol because he pulls the clip out.
Yeah.
A revolver would have the chambers.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways.
You're thinking of the second movie. The second movie, he has...
you're right.
He has like a sawed-off shotgun. He has a Tommy gun in the dream sequence, and then I think he has...
Why is this
a
flamethrower?
A flamethrower.
He does have a flamethrower. I forgot. What's wrong with this guy? Where does he get this stuff?
He's a killer clown, man. What are you...
He's
I don't know.
He keeps it in the porta potty.
It's bad. So then he finally, gets the firearm out, turns around, and then he puts the barrel in his mouth, pulls the trigger. And the cops are like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah.
Victoria's still alive, and then okay, cool. The screen fades, and then we end up at the corner where the cops are pulling in the two bodies, and the doctor's like, "Oh, you're going to keep me up all night. I'm going to have to pull an all-nighter working on these stupid things or whatever." And so one of the bodies...
5 in the morning.
Yeah. One of the bodies is the first exterminator, and we get to see the damage that happened to his face. And then the second body is Art the Clown. He has like this big smile, right, on his face. And then I think there's like some kind of electrical surge that happens.
That he causes.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
So some electrical surge thing happens, and then the doctor is kind of like, "What the heck's going on?" 15 seconds of that happening, he turns around to Art, and then Art grabs him by the throat. And then that's when we go to the hospital, and this is where we get the 1 year later timestamp at the bottom, where we see Victoria being released. She's talking to her parents, basically like, "Oh, hey, you're excited to go home, XYZ." And then the doctor that's releasing her is like, "Oh, good luck on your interview tomorrow." And it turns around and we see that Victoria
is the girl in the beginning.
Is the girl at the beginning who killed the interviewer.
Yeah.
And then the screen goes red. Oh, it doesn't want to go black.
Yeah.
It goes red, and then the credits start rolling. But yeah, so that was a Terrifier. That was the first one.
Adam's favorite movie.
Adam, this is his favorite movie.
I would say again, the movie itself is not. I think he's an interesting character that definitely again, when I saw the movie the first time, I was definitely really taken aback, and I was like, holy moly, because I've never seen anything really like that. Because again, that's not usually my thing. I'm not a big gory person, but he's just I don't know, he's just a weird character, and I think it's just different from your typical mainstream. People, right? Like the closest you'd have anything to a antagonist with personality in a horror movie, is Freddy, right? He's the only one that really
Chucky,
talks.
I guess.
Chucky, Chucky, true.
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun, yeah.
Ghostface.
No, that doesn't.
Ghostface talks.
Oh yeah, but he's the same. You want to see a scary movie? I don't care.
Is Pennywise the only other killer clown?
There's killer clowns from
I know,
outer space.
Pennywise
but they don't
is
talk. They go.
I know Pennywise isn't a slasher, but
It's like a horror icon.
There's killer clowns for outer space. There's
there's a
Stitches. The movie
Stitches.
Stitches.
Wait, hold on. I always forget. No,
Awful.
Stitches is awful, but Clown is actually really good.
Oh, that one is good.
That's the one. That one's the
You
one
have
where
seen it.
the one with the
where
mask.
the mask gets stuck on his face.
You gotta watch that one. That one's pretty good.
That one
pretty
is good. Spiral. Wait, not Spiral.
Spiral. She's like, I like Chris Rock.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Stitches is so bad. They put
They get
the air pump in his head,
pump in
and
someone's head.
until it busts
until he
Was
explodes.
it CGI?
No.
They use practical effects
They
for
use
that?
practical effects.
I would say, yeah, clown. I wouldn't say it's more
It's a real
ground.
balloon, right? They
Clown-
just painted a face. on
Clown's
it.
not more grounded, but it like keeps to like it's not like comedic. It's like
It's pretty dark.
well, yeah, because like the guy is like I don't want to ruin the movie, but it like basically there's a meaning behind the mask and it has a dark history and that's why it like fuses. Fuses with him again. Yeah, it is very extensive and gratuitous at times with certain things that I was just like, okay, I'm not. It's not that I don't like it for those things. I like it just because it's an interesting character, and I think that he plays the character just very well.
Yeah,
Like he does a very good job of it. I think he brings a little bit of that to the Mean One. I know that movie is pretty rough, but like that
It's
is
really
pretty rough. But at least that movie, you know, it's supposed to be bad, right? Like that movie.
I
Is
thought this one was supposed to be bad too. If it's not, then I drop my rating down by like 2 points.
But
they were like,
Pastor is supposed to be bad.
Velocipaster is a masterpiece.
They show the boom mic like every so often.
What's the car scene? Image of car.
Yeah.
No, it's car explosion.
In
Car
their
explosion.
car here.
But last but not least, interesting lore. And again, like watch All Hallows Eve when you get a chance, so then you can kind of get what I'm talking about with like that's what people think the connection is. There's nobody's nobody's verified it.
Yeah.
But like there's definitely a connection there, and the supernatural portion is established in that movie. Like the way they introduce art and the way he ends the movie and all that stuff. But don't watch the one where the lady's in the house. Like skip that one. That one's stupid.
Closing thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, no, the movie's bad. It's still bad. It's not even better. Actually, talking about it,
You're
you
right,
realize
it
the
went
word.
That's funny.
Bad, but it was pretty good still. All right.
Amanda, closing thoughts?
It sounds like I need to rewatch it. A lot of what you guys are saying sound familiar as you're describing it. Like I was kind of able to
Yeah.
recall it. Again, I still just think it's good for what it is. Like it's what you're saying, where like it's so bad that
It's so
it's
bad.
good, but then it's also like not even that bad.
It's
like,
really bad.
out of all the movies you
The low
reviewed,
point.
I would honestly probably do like Late Night with the Devil, Terrifier, and then everything else. So
Immaculate's still better than the other one, the other two,
Imaginary and
and
The Strangers.
the Strangers.
oh yeah, The Strangers is not very.
And
high
I would
on my list.
still put Immaculate over Violent Nature.
Yeah, I'd probably do Late Night with the Devil,
Immaculate's okay.
Terrifier,
I
and
put Sydney
Immaculate.
Sweeney over John.
Out of what we've watched,
Closing thoughts for me. This movie, you know, it's kind of its own thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it. I can't wait for the next installment, Terrifier 3. But yeah.
when we talk about Terrifier 2,
We
that's
talk
gonna be
about-
a good
Yeah,
episode.
Terrifier 2 will be exciting. We're gonna probably do that maybe sometime August, September, somewhere in there. But speaking of which, we're gonna take a little bit of a break for the month of July, just so that way we can enjoy our summer vacation. So our next episode will be August 6th. We'll see y'all then. Don't forget, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, do all the algorithm stuff. It'll really help us out, and we'll see y'all later. Bye.